You wake up in 2026, reach for your phone, and before you've even fully opened your eyes, something has already decided what you'll feel first. Not your alarm, not your calendar, your feed. One notification gets pushed to the top, another gets buried. One video starts autoplaying with a perfect tone for your mood. One headline is framed like an emergency. One message is highlighted because it might keep you engaged, and it feels normal because it is quiet. Here's a stat that should make you pause without making you paranoid. YouTube has said that more than 70% of watch time is driven by recommendations. That means most of what you watch isn't something you searched for. It's something you accepted. AI sometimes nudges us, doesn't control us, but nudges compound. Kathy O'Neill, a data scientist who studies real-world algorithmic harm, has a line that cuts through the hype. Algorithms are opinions embedded in code. And when those opinions decide what you see first, what you notice, what you ignore, and what you click next, your life starts to move inside lanes you didn't consciously choose. Subscribe to Mind for AI and click the bell icon and watch till the end to stay ahead of the systems shaping your decisions. Because once you can see the nudge, you can step around it. You're scrolling late at night. You didn't come for anything specific. You're just tired, and your brain wants something easy. The next video starts automatically, and it's slightly more emotional than the last one, slightly more intense, slightly more personal. You feel your mood shift before you even realize what the topic is. And then you hear yourself think, why am I still here? Your thumb keeps going anyway. You open a shopping app for one simple item, a charger, a skincare product, something boring. Then the app shows you a bundle that looks like it was made for you, because in a sense it was. It's not reading your mind, it's reading your patterns. You pause on it for a second, and that pause is a signal, and the next suggestions get sharper. You add one item you didn't plan to buy, and it feels like your idea. It wasn't exactly your idea, it was your impulse, made convenient. You apply for something important, a job, a rental, a credit limit increase. You get an instant response that feels clean and objective, like it came from reality itself. Approved, not approved. Further review. You want to ask why, but there isn't a person to look in the eye. There's a score, a model, a threshold, and a policy. And even when everything is fair and compliant, you still feel the same emotional punch. I'm being judged by a machine, and I can't even tell what it noticed. You ask a health question in a search bar. It's innocent. It's normal. The next day, your feed is full of dramatic warnings and miracle fixes. Because anxiety makes people stay longer, click more, search more, share more. You don't think I'm being manipulated. You think, wow, this topic must be important. It's everywhere. It's not everywhere. It's in your lane. Before AI-powered personalization, life had more shared defaults. If you watched TV, you watched what was scheduled. If you read the news, you saw the same front page as millions of other people. If you wanted something specific, you had to go looking for it. And that search created a pause where you could decide. Now the pause is optional, and many apps are designed to remove it. Autoplay removes the pause. Infinite scroll removes the pause. One-click purchasing removes the pause. Push notifications remove the pause. Recommendations remove the pause. The result is subtle but huge. You spend more of your day responding and less of your day choosing. Did you just feel the difference between responding and choosing? That's the whole story. So what is AI quietly deciding in 2026, realistically? It's not deciding your life like a dictator. It's deciding your options like a menu, and humans are heavily influenced by menus. We pick what is visible. We pick what is easy. We pick what feels socially validated. We pick what is framed as urgent. We pick what we saw last. We pick what fits our mood. And AI systems are very good at shaping those conditions. A recommendation system is a ranking machine. There is more content than you could ever see, so something has to decide what goes first. The order becomes your experience. Then the system learns from what you do, what you watch, what you skip, what you replay, what you comment on, what you pause on for half a second. You're not just consuming the feed, you're training it. As we move into 2026, that training loop is everywhere. not just in entertainment. Shopping recommendations, music discovery, news ranking, search results, navigation routes, dating app matches, hiring filters, fraud detection, customer service. Even your work tools suggesting what to write next. And the same logic applies. Predict what you'll do, then shape what you see. Tristan Harris, who worked in persuasive technology and later warned about it publicly, has emphasized that many systems are optimized for engagement, not for your well-being. Because engagement is what the business can measure and monetize. It doesn't require a villain. It just requires incentives. So if you ever feel like the internet is pushing you toward outrage, urgency, fear, or comparison, you're not imagining it. Those states often keep people engaged. And engagement is feedback. Feedback is learning. Learning becomes your next feed. Here's one real example that proves the emotional nudge is measurable. A study published in the journal PNAS reported that changing what people were exposed to in their Facebook feed was associated with changes in the emotional language people used in their own posts. Hundreds of thousands of people. Again, not mind control, a nudge, at scale. And you don't need Facebook to understand the mechanism. If you see more angry content, you feel more angry. If you feel more angry, you interpret more things as threats. If you interpret more things as threats, you click more threat content. The loop closes, quietly. Now let's make the pain personal, because this is where it hits. You're trying to relax and suddenly you're tense. You're trying to learn and suddenly you feel behind. You're trying to stay informed and suddenly you feel unsafe. You're trying to connect and suddenly you feel lonely. You're trying to be productive and suddenly you feel ashamed. And you can't point to one moment and say, that's when it happened. It's a sequence. A sequence is powerful because it doesn't feel like persuasion. It feels like life. Here are micro moments you've probably lived. You watch one harmless clip about self-improvement, and the next recommendations get harsher, more extreme, more shame-based. You feel motivated for a minute, then you feel smaller, and you start thinking in all or nothing terms. Either I fix everything or I'm failing. That thought didn't come from nowhere. It came from a content ladder that escalates intensity because intensity performs. You watch one clip criticizing a public figure, and the next clips are more confident, more absolute, more polar. Your tired brain loves certainty, so it feels like truth. Then you look around in real life and wonder why people seem so unreasonable. But your feed trained you to expect enemies, not nuance. You buy one item, and suddenly you're being served a whole identity. The minimalist version of you, the luxury version, the fitness version, the disciplined version, the aesthetic version. It's not just selling products. It's selling a story where buying feels like becoming. You start feeling like you're making choices, but you're often choosing between suggestions. If this is landing, hit like. Not for the algorithm, for you. Because noticing is the first step to control. Now here's the cliffhanger that matters. The biggest risk in 2026 isn't one big AI decision that changes your life overnight. It's the slow accumulation of tiny nudges that make you more predictable, more reactive, and easier to steer. But the solution is not quitting technology. It's reclaiming the pause. Now we do the problem-solving part, and I'm going to keep it beginner-friendly and practical. What is happening, why it matters, and how to fix it without becoming paranoid. Here's the what. AI systems are quietly deciding the order of your day, the order of information, the order of emotions, the order of temptations, the order of distractions. And order matters because your brain treats what is first and frequent as what is important. If the first thing you see each morning is urgency, your nervous system starts urgent. If the first thing you see is comparison, your self-image starts shaky. If the first thing you see is outrage, your mind starts sharp and defensive. Then you make choices from that state. Here's the why. Because your attention is not neutral. Attention is your life energy. Whatever repeatedly captures it becomes your mental climate, and your mental climate shapes your behavior more than your beliefs do. You can believe you value calm, but if your environment feeds you adrenaline all day, you will act like an adrenaline person. And there's a neuroscience reason this works so well. When you're tired or stressed, the part of your brain involved in planning and self-control has a harder time staying engaged. In plain language, fatigue makes you more impulsive and more habit-driven. You don't choose deeply. You default. Online platforms don't need to defeat your willpower. They just need to catch you when you're low on fuel. Here's the second neuroscience piece that explains why infinite scroll feels so sticky. Your brain responds strongly to variable rewards, the unpredictable maybe of the next post. If every scroll was boring, you would stop. You keep going because one might be great, and the unpredictability itself becomes the hook. You don't scroll because it's good. You scroll because it might be. Now combine fatigue plus variable rewards plus AI ranking optimized for engagement. That is a predictable loop. So how do you break it? You don't fight the system with motivation. You fight it with design. Tiny friction, clear purpose, better defaults, and deliberate unpredictability. First, micro-action. Insert a choice point before you open a feed. One sentence, every time. What am I here for? If you can name a purpose, you're choosing. If you can't name a purpose, you're about to be nudged. Say it out loud if you can. What am I here for? Second micro-action. Control autoplay and the endless flow. Turn off autoplay where possible. If you can't, create a manual stop. When a video ends, take your hand off the phone for a breath and decide the next click instead of letting the next clip decide for you. That pause feels small. It's not small, because the pause is where your brain comes back online. Third micro-action. Train your recommendations like they are learning from you, because they are. Use the tools platforms give you. Not interested. Mute, unfollow. Don't recommend this channel. Clear watch history during days when you were not yourself, like when you were sick, stressed, or doom scrolling late at night, because those clicks are training data too. Most people try to use willpower against an algorithm while feeding the algorithm the exact signals that make it stronger. Stop rewarding what you don't want more of. Fourth micro-action. The 24-hour decision trace. For one day, write down a few moments when you felt pulled. Not everything. Just the moments that felt automatic. What were you feeling right before? What did you click? How did you feel after? This turns the invisible into visible. And visible becomes changeable. Here's a stat that makes this feel real, not philosophical. Data Reportal's global reports have put average daily time on social media around 2.5 hours. That's not a small hobby. That's a major environment. And environments shape behavior. So treat your feed like a room you live in. Would you decorate your home with constant anxiety? Fifth micro-action. Widen your input diet on purpose. Personalization narrows unless you widen it. Follow at least one calm voice that disagrees with you without being cruel. Add one source that focuses on evidence instead of hot takes. Choose creators who make you clearer, not more activated, because a narrow feed feels like reality. And that's the danger. Now here's how to use AI in a believable way that helps you instead of replacing you. Use AI as a mirror, not as a master. Take your decision trace notes and ask an AI tool to summarize patterns. When do I scroll most mindlessly? What emotions show up first? What topics trigger impulsive buying? What time of day am I most reactive? What kind of content reliably changes my mood? The AI is not omniscient. It might be wrong, but it can help you see repetition faster. And repetition is the only thing you need to spot to regain control. Because once you see the trigger, you can design around it. If you notice you scroll when you feel lonely, you don't just try harder. You text someone. You go outside. You change state. If you notice you buy when you feel anxious, you create a friction rule like waiting a day before any non-essential purchase. If you notice outrage content hijacks you at night, you block it during night hours and replace it with content that calms your nervous system. Did you just feel the shift? From fighting yourself to designing for yourself. Here's an analogy to lock it in. AI is like a chess opponent that studies your openings. If you always make the same opening move when you're bored, tired, or uncomfortable, it will predict you easily. But if you start making deliberate moves, you become harder to predict. AI is best at predicting defaults. It struggles with deliberate choice. And that's the identity shift for 2026. You go from reactive consumer to conscious chooser. You stop measuring your life by what you consumed and start measuring it by what you chose. You don't need to fear AI. You need to stop living inside defaults you didn't select. You need to protect the pause. You need to build friction in your weak moments. You need to train your feeds instead of letting them train you. You need to widen your inputs so your world doesn't become a tunnel. Your mind is still yours, but you have to claim it. Do you think AI really influences your decisions, or are we overestimating it? Comment below, because your answer will shape the next Mind for AI video. Like, share, and subscribe to Mind for AI if you want realistic, practical breakdowns that help you stay human inside systems optimized for attention. AI sometimes nudges us. It doesn't control us, but you get to decide what compounds.